Good afternoon, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox, guys. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing fine. And I hope everyone is staying calm and enjoying the elements, guys. You know what? Smile while you still have teeth. That's what they say at the end of the day. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And please don't forget to smash a like on the video. If you guys could be as kind to that for me to be absolutely fantastic before you start, guys. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Of course, wherever you are in the world, you absolute legends now, guys. I mean, you don't need to talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is obviously Benjamin Sesco, of course. The news in regards to the Newcastle bid that has been hovering over us all day. Well, for the last 24 hours, it seems, isn't it? The news, is he coming? Is he going? Is he going to go to Man United? Is he going to go to Newcastle? Look, the one thing I would say about this is that obviously it is going to be overly emphasized. It is going to be elevated to an extent because it is Manchester United. And this news has obviously hit a chord with many Manchester United fans within the fan base. Obviously, many Man United fans are saying that he's going to go to Newcastle. We don't believe that he's going to come to Manchester United. Look, at the end of the day, what I would say about it is that I do believe that this Newcastle bid gives me an air of desperation. That's what I'm saying. Like they've given their record bid, of course, but it really doesn't matter when a player wants to come to Manchester United. Of course, Benjamin Cesco is a Manchester United fan. His agent is a Manchester United fan. So this is going to get very, very interesting, guys, in regards to who he's going to go to. Is he going to go to Newcastle? Is he going to go to Manchester United? And this is going to drag on. And like I said last week, this transfer will drag on until the Arsenal game. I got this feeling that this transfer will drag on to the Arsenal game and we're going to be sitting here in a couple of weeks thinking what's going on. We still ain't got a striker through the door. Look, I hope not. But you know what? This Newcastle bid has really put the cat amongst the pigeons, hasn't it? You know, and the only thing it's going to do is going to have to push Man United to make a bid. Are Man United going to make that bid? Are Man United going to match what Newcastle United have offered? And look, guys, when they talk about 70 million euros, blah, blah, blah. All this business here, that was the price anyway, £65 million, basically 60 to 70 million pounds. That was the price anyway. And as I spoke about yesterday, when Manchester United heard the news about Benjamin Cesco's price, everyone gasps at like, wow, he's worth that much. And the reality struck home that he's quite an expensive player, to be honest. But I do believe that Man United have the money. They will try and sign this player. They will come out with a counter offer in regards to Newcastle United. And it's up to Newcastle whether they come out with an offer as well. So what Manchester United are doing at the moment, which I think is very clever, they want an answer from Sesco first. So basically they want an announcement for Sesco that basically states that I want to go to Manchester United, basically like that, so that Man United have the power in the transfer window, just like they did with Mbumo. When Mbumo said, I want to go to Man United, agreed personal terms with Man United, and all the likelihood was he's coming to Manchester United because obviously he's already done the contract talks, and et cetera, et cetera. So all Manchester United would have to do is go to the club and negotiate the price and the fee and the payment plan, whatever it is at the end of the day. But this is very interesting, and this is gonna get very, very heated as the days go by. Of course, guys, we're gonna hear more news tomorrow. There's gonna be new news coming out of the airways tomorrow about Benjamin Cesco. There's still news floating around. There's still tweets coming out from Fabrizio Ornstein. Ben Jacobs, of course, has spoken. Ben Jacobs, fair play, confirmed a lot of things earlier on today, of course, guys. But what I would say is that, yeah, look, you know what? What I would say, just remain calm. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, Man United have a contingency plan. Hopefully, we have other players in mind if this does go kerfuffle, if this does go out, if this does actually get messed up, this transfer. I still believe that Cesco will be a Manchester United player next season. I think this is already deep in Manchester United's corner, in my opinion, guys. And look, you know what? The headline is Cesco deal in the striking range. Absolutely is in the striking range, guys. I do believe that. And will Manchester United deliver the knockout punch to Newcastle in regards to the fee, guys, and the transfer? I firmly believe we will. And look, you know what? Nothing is absolute in football, as I spoke about, yes, this morning. Nothing is absolute in football. Football can go either way any day. Look, something could be guaranteed one day, and then it gets changed the other day. It's not about being right or wrong. You were wrong. This is right. This and that. Football can change day by day by day. And you can have an agreement on Monday. And you know what? On Tuesday, he's going to another football club. That is how football is at the end of the day. Because ultimately, money talks. Now, the saving grace for us is if Sesco wants to come to Manchester United, and he states that he wants to come to Man United, and he announces that he wants to go to Man United, and he's only interested in signing for Manchester United, just like Gyökeres did at Arsenal, just like Mbeumo did at Brentford, ended up signing for Man United, then it will put everything in our corner, because at the end of the day, we won't have to worry about other clubs coming in for offers. We just need to negotiate a transfer fee with the RB Leipzig. Of course, guys, thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is blessed. Of course, guys, I am your agony aunt. I am your therapist today, guys. I hope you're doing well. Big up, Jamie. How you doing, James? How you doing? Well, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing blessed, mate. I'm going to try and be calm as possible in the chat, but inside I'm angry. I do not trust the board at all, Sal. We could be on the verge of an embarrassment here. At the end of the day, what I would say is that, look, I'm going to say it like this. This is Vivel's guy. Christopher Vivel. This is his guy. This Benjamin Sesco is his guy at the end of the day. And if Benjamin Cesco does not sign for Manchester United, it is incredibly embarrassing for the entourage that we have there right now, including Wilcox, Vivel, etc. That won't be the first time that Manchester United have been rejected this season as well. Of course, there's been players that Man United could have had if we had Champions League football. But, you know, the only thing that Newcastle have ahead of us is Champions League football. Newcastle not a bigger club than us. Newcastle not a better club than us. Newcastle don't have a better fan base than us. We are a bigger club. Everything about you as a player, if you sign for Manchester United, will elevate tenfold. It will go absolutely crazy. Everything about you as a player, if you sign for Manchester United, everything will be times tenfold. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that's what I would say. Just because you're in the Champions League, making up the numbers, which Newcastle United are, let's face it, they're making up the numbers in the Champions League. They're not going to do anything in the Champions League. Let's be realistic here. You know, at the end of the day, Cesco can look at that and think, you know what? Do I want to play for Manchester United, the team I support, or do I want to go to Newcastle United because they're in the Champions League and probably won't win anything else? Just about won the League Cup in the first time in 100 years, Delhi. If we do not sign him, Jim and the board, everyone has to go because they're. I mean, at the end of the day, Jamie, look, what we would say, mate, is that, look, we all want a full Sal, Glazers out. Of course, that is what I've always wanted. That's what I've always advocated for. I went to Qatari TV, Jamie. I've done the whole works in regards to that, working tooth and nail for like literally. You're talking about nearly 15 years, 20 years, guys. You know what I mean? 15 years. Is it 15 years? 20 years, guys, for goodness sake. 20 years working on this ever since I had my green and gold scarf back in 2005 in the Stretford end. I've been working on this, and wishing that the Glazers go. We had an opportunity for the Qatar. Unfortunately, there was a certain part of the fan base that, you know what, backed, obviously, Jim Ratcliffe. Now, I think it's amazing what's going on within some of the fan base that they've seen Sheikh Jassim Hamid, you know, and they've realized that he's a real person, and they've gone in hiding because a lot of people were slandering the Qatari bid, saying that he's not even a real person. He's not even a real person. And lo and behold, we see, obviously, another picture of Sheikh Jassim Hamid with a fellow fan yesterday, of course, guys. Not least, not added to the fact that he was at the World Cup Championship, you know, in front of the world. And then people are still not acknowledging this, which is crazy. But we all wanted that. The one thing I would say, Jamie, at the moment, right now, they are going to be our owners for now, right? As much as we don't like it, they are our owners for now, and we have to sort of bite the bullet, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? And hope that we get everything well. Not only we don't care about them, we care about Manchester United. This is for Manchester United's sake. This isn't for anyone else, in my humblest of opinion. And to be honest with you, I only care about the football club I love all my life, of course, guys. And I hope that we get the players in that will help, not only help Manchester United, but help Ruben Amorim, most importantly, because at the end of the day, we all know what's going to happen if this goes tits upwards at the beginning of the season, 10 games in, and we'd already lost 3 or 4 games. We already know that what this is going to happen. We already know the toxic nature that is going to come creeping back into the fan base and in the airwaves, of course, with TalkSport, ESPN FC, and all those haters out there who openly want us to foul, of course. Jamie again, and Sal, Sesco ain't in Leipzig against Atalanta. Why all of a sudden is he left out of the team, mate? I would argue, like, why all of a sudden did he follow Manchester United on Instagram? You know, at the end of the day, I would argue that point. Why did Man United pull out of the Ollie Watkins deal? Wouldn't that represent a risk? Do you know what I mean? If Manchester United pulled out of the Ollie Watkins deal, to concentrate fully on Sesco, wouldn't that represent a risk, guys? Let me just say that. Wouldn't that represent a risk? Why would they completely shut down the Ollie Watkins deal if they didn't believe they're going to sign Sesco. There's lots of multi-layered things in regards to this, my man. And we have to obviously look at things from all angles, objectively, of course, and not be overly zealous and obviously not be overly confident, but also not be overly pessimistic as well. We have to try and look at things for what they are. Now, it is Saturday, guys. Let's not forget it is Saturday. Saturday notoriously is not a great day for transfers. Saturday, Sunday. So you're going to be hearing more solid news within Monday to Friday, of course, guys, when it starts to get, you know what, when everyone is working and stuff like that. Good afternoon, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Are you doing well? Sal, if the bid is accepted, what do we do? If the bid is accepted, the only thing Man United can do, Ephraim, is match the bid. That is the only thing that Man United can do. And if Man United match the bid, Newcastle have already gone with their club record fee. They've already tried to bid for him. So I don't think Newcastle are going to go higher, fingers crossed. But if Newcastle made this bid, which the bid is basically what Cesco is worth. Let me just tell that right now, guys. The bid is basically what Cesco is worth. Cesco is worth 65 million. He is. Guys, at his age, market value, he's worth that amount of money at the end of the day. If the bid is accepted and Man United make a counter offer which matches the bid or defeats the bid that Newcastle are making, then it is down to the player. It is down to Benjamin Sesco what he wants to do. Ultimately, it is down to Benjamin Sesco anyway. This is Sesco's choice. If Sesco openly says and states that I want to go to Manchester United, no other club, then we all know what's going to happen, don't we? We all know that eventually he will sign for Man United and vice versa if he came out and said he only wants to sign for Newcastle United, which I don't think he will do. Absolutely. Ephraim, Sal, is there any news about a midfielder? No, there was news in regards to Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has been talking about Man United possibly signing a midfielder during this window. Look, you know what, at the moment, I'm a little bit conflicted. In regards to the midfield position, obviously, I'm looking at things from a realistic point of view. As I said yesterday, we got 5 midfielders playing for one position because Bruno is going to be staying in that position. Bruno will play that position regardless what happens. Bruno will be the number 8, guys. So that leaves one more position in the midfield. And we got Casemiro, we got Ugarte there, we got Collier there, of course, guys, as well. We got Kone, who can also play in that position as well, guys. So we've got midfield. We've already got Kobe Mainoo. We already got players there that can play that position. Will Man United sign a midfielder? The only way I feel Man United will sign a midfielder is if Man United sell a midfielder. That is how I'll say it, guys, at the moment. Even though Fabrizio said we may sign a midfielder. Let's wait and see. At least we have too much bid, Jamie. Big up, Ephraim. Sal, do you think that any chance of we lose that we would choose Newcastle? Of course, there's a chance, Ephraim. I'm not going to come out and say there's absolutely no chance. Newcastle would never get him. Of course they can. Of course, the money talks at the end of the day. What you have to understand is that the personality of the player. We don't know the personality of the player. All we know is Benjamin Cesco plays for RB Leipzig. He's a Man United fan. But as we've seen many times, loyalty doesn't mean nothing in football. We know that already. Do you know what I mean? So money can talk. Or he could be like one of those guys like Bumo, like Cunha, saying, no, I want to play for Man United. That is the only club I want. He could do that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But if he chooses Newcastle, then let him go to Newcastle. Guys, at the end of the day, what can we do about it? What can we do? If he chooses Newcastle, then it's another one bites the dust, isn't it? Man United made their bed when they lost that Champions League final, you know what I mean, to Tottenham Hotspur. Our saving grace was that Champions League final, right? It was that Champions League final because we have Ineos, because we have the Glazers. The Champions League was imperative. It was very important that Man United qualify for the Championship. But nothing has happened yet. No one has said anything yet. Nothing has been decided yet. And contrary to popular belief over this last few hours, people saying that he's agreed to go to Newcastle, which was complete false, not true at the end of the day. What was true is that there was a bid made. As I said this morning, there was a bid made. And it was clarified by Ben Jacob. There's a bid made, but no decision has been made of yet. Manchester United are still in the picture. And you know what? I wouldn't jump. I think that news out there was designed to elevate the fan base, to add a little bit of a spice into the media. Clicks, likes, all that stuff, all that sweet stuff, as they call it, of course. Bluesky, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing Newcastle panicking? Kyle, come on, relax, guys. Any team can make a bid, but what's the player's choice? Exactly, Bluesky. This is the whole point of it. It all boils down. Man United can make a magnificent offer. Newcastle can make a magnificent offer. Club record fee, and Cesco doesn't want to go there. Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what happens, as The Rock used to say. It doesn't matter what happens. But if Benjamin Sesco wants to go to a certain club, seldom he will go to a certain club. He will go to that club. The player always wins. The player always wins. If he wants to go to Manchester United, he will go to Manchester United. Bet your bottom dollar on that one, guys. He will go to Manchester United. If he wants to go to Newcastle, exactly that at the moment. I can't see why he would choose Newcastle over Man United unless there is a substantial financial reward for it. And if he does choose a substantial financial reward, then he's not the player for us. But I'm not saying that he is, because he might choose Manchester United. Who knows? How you doing, Alexander Park? Do you think we're getting, mate? In my humblest opinion, Alexander Park, I think we will. I think we will. I think that you'll hear a lot. You will hear something completely different next week. Next week, you will hear something completely different. It probably be turned upside down on its head. But as we know, football changes day by day. Football can change day by day. You remember when Mbeumo was in talks with Manchester United, and Man United were trying to organise a deal for Brian Mbeumo? Do you remember what they said in the media? Do you remember when they said, oh, Brian Mbeumo is going to Tottenham Hotspur because Thomas Frank is going to Tottenham Hotspur? That was the news. He's going to Tottenham. He's going to Tottenham. Do you remember that? You remember that? Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And no, we have to just take these pieces of news with a pinch of salt. And that news about Mbeumo was reported by many journalists, respected journalists as well. So what I would say is that stay calm and see what happens. I believe we can still do this deal. I believe that, of course. Man United match to offer. I hope that Benjamin Sesco chooses Manchester United, of course. Who's the KO punch, mate? Tell us. Man United KO. Basically, Man United KO basically means SESKO. SESKO. Sorry, I played with the words a little bit there. In regards to SESKO, Manchester United could possibly put the knockout punch on Newcastle, because if Man United come with a counter offer in regards to the Newcastle bid, this is Newcastle United's record bid, guys. Let's remember that. Newcastle United in the 1990s, right? In the 1990s were the highest spenders in the Premier League. Guys, it was not Man United. It wasn't any of those clubs, right? It was Newcastle United. They were the highest spenders in the Premier League. So for them to bid their record fee for Cesco says a lot. I don't think they're going to above that. I don't think they're going to go above that. I really don't. And I think if Man United come with a counter offer, Man United match the bid, I think this will be Man United's to lose. I absolutely do think that, of course. But in football, you just never know, do you? And with Man United, being a Man United fan these days, you know what? It's difficult, because obviously we've had a lot of disappointments over the recent years. Of course, there's a little bit of PTSD going on and stuff like that. There's a lot of disappointment. I understand that. You know what I mean? I felt it myself last year. I was embarrassed. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what happened? You know, coming 15th, one thing, then losing to Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur in the Europa League final was absolutely terrible. We needed a Sesco in that game. Dabizaz, I think we lost the race. Adios, Sesco wave. Trust me, bruv. Again, trust me, bro. Dabizaz, this is for you, mate. Sorry, mate. You're going to get it again. You're getting a double slap today, mate. Absolutely. Goodbye. Dabizaz, here we go.
Closer. What is the sound of one hand clapping?
I don't know. What is the sound of one?
There you go, Dabizaz. You bought that on yourself, mate. Absolutely. You bought that on yourself. All right, guys, absolutely. Cornish, Melissa, what's going on, Cornish? Maid, what's going on? Hi, everyone. Let's say that Liverpool don't buy Isaac and Newcastle buy Cesco. Who do you think will be Newcastle's main striker? It'll be Isaac to maintain his high value. Personally, can I be honest, Cornish? And I mean this in the most sincerest, loveliest way. What I would say is that I don't care. If they sign Cesco and keep Isaac, it's no skin off my nose in regards to that. I don't really care. You know, at the end of the day, I would be very disappointed as a Manchester United fan if I'm being real. That is what I would be. I'd be disappointed if I was a Man United fan. It does look likely, though, Cornish, that he's going to go. Isaac is going to go to Liverpool. Isaac already wants to go, doesn't he, at the end of the day? And he was left out of the squad as well. Jale, Newcastle would play with both strikers if they can afford them. Freddie, big up Sal in the chat. Big up Freddie. Newcastle got problems with FFP and PSR, by the way, as well. Big up Sal in the chat. Big up Freddie B. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Absolutely. Reported Isaac back at Newcastle. A big up Nietzsche fan. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Back in training. Of course, he had to be at the end of the day. He's contractually obliged to go back to training. Lo and behold, footballer contracted to a club goes to the club, goes to training. There we go. Absolutely, he has to be back at training. Niche. Absolutely, but obviously, does it mean he's happy? Is he unhappy? Is he training with a grimace? Is he disgruntled? Who knows, guys? We only can speculate at the end of the day. Big up, my friend Nietzsche. Good to see you, mate. I have a feeling RB will take the money from Newcastle. It's all about, well, it is, Coco. It is all about the player, isn't it? What happens with the player? Is it the player who wants to go? No, if the player wants to go to Manchester United, it doesn't matter what Newcastle United offer Leipzig. Man United just have to offer the same money. And then, obviously, Sesco will be a Manchester United player. What I would say is that, yeah, look, you know what? If Man United miss out on Sesco, things happen in football. This can happen in football. What I want from Manchester United, I want a contingency plan. I want a backup plan. That's what I want for Manchester United. I want us to have a Mateta on the wings, a Gonzalo Ramos on the wings, someone of that who's waiting in the wing to sign for Manchester United if we don't manage to get the Sesco deal over the line. And that's what I want. And that is the biggest concern for me going forward, is that have we got a contingency plan if we don't sign Sesco? Now, a lot of people are talking about if Man United don't sign a striker, we might as well just concentrate on the midfield and the goalkeeper. Look, I'm not opposed to that. Obviously, I do believe the striker is the most important thing because over the last 2 years, Man United's biggest problem has been the striker, hasn't it? Minus goal difference under Ten Hag and under, obviously, Ruben Amorim last half a year, of course, guys. So I would say that, yeah, look, Man United need to move on. Man United need to look at other players and try and sign some players, you know what, and to build and bolster the squad. I am very concerned about the striker, though. I think Man United do need a striker. We need to score goals. We're not scoring goals. You know, the preseason so far has looked pretty positive, but preseasons can be deceiving. Do you know what I mean? They can be a little bit manipulative, of course, in regards to the truth. Guys, big up my friend Planet256. Welcome, bro. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good, my friend. Good to see you. Nietzsche, I think Isaac is saying that Newcastle and they also want Sesco. Let's wait and see, Nietzsche. All I would say is that nothing is in the realms of impossibility in this transfer market. What I would say is that why would Manchester United turn their back on Ollie Watkins and put all their eggs in the Sesco basket? Why would they do that? Why would Benjamin Sesco go and follow recently Manchester United on Instagram? I like to look at these things, glass half full kind of thing. What is going on there? That's what I would look at. They were talking about playing a 4-4-2. I mean 4-4-2. What's that? I haven't seen a 4-4-2 in a long time. Typical Eddie Howe, isn't it? John O'Connell, what are United waiting for? Putting a bid and come on then. I mean, at the end of the day, John, what we would say is that have they not? They might have already done. You know, we don't know that, of course, guys, at the end of the day. We will hear a lot of news about it. It is the weekend. I stress again, guys, it is the weekend. You know, news is very, very low in the weekend in regards to football transfers and stuff like that. It's very low. You know, you have to wait until Monday, to be honest with you. I'll have to wait. Big up, my friend, Silverback Gamer Beast. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Afternoon sound chat. Hope you're good. Hope you're good, my friend. Good to see you, mate. Emiski. United prioritizes Cesco. New can win Newcastle because if we lose, it will appear like we are weak. If Man United lose to Newcastle, it won't be the first time that Man United have lost out on a transfer this summer. And that is a fact. Obviously, we lost out on Giovanni Quenda, of course, to Chelsea not too long ago. And we lost, obviously, Gyökeres. And Gyökeres was a big priority for Manchester United, even though we didn't actually make a bid in the end. Of course, guys. So what I would say is that, yes, it would be very embarrassing to Manchester United if we lose Benjamin Sesco. Everyone's going to be laughing at us at the end of the day. Let them laugh. Let them do what they want. I will be extremely upset. I mean, in a way that I'm very disappointed, I would be. And I would be extremely angry. But what I would say, guys, is just bear with us. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bide with me. You know, you never know what's going to happen next week, of course. Isaac is back in training. Absolutely niche. Big up niche. Hope you're well, of course. Coco. The only alternatives is that they really want Rasmus for a swap deal, which is super rare. Don't think we can win a bidding war against Newcastle. I don't know. All I know, Coco, is that Newcastle got FFP and PSR problems. And Newcastle cannot sign, obviously, keep Isaac as well as buying Cesco. Newcastle have a lot of problems, guys. You don't know how much PSR and FFP problems that they have at the moment. It is very unlikely that Newcastle start the season with Cesco and Isaac, guys, at the end of the day. What is the most important thing in this transfer? What is the most important thing? How do we analyze it? It's basically it's what Sesco wants. The most important thing is what Sesco wants at the end of the day. If Sesco wants Manchester United, he's going to go to Manchester United at the end of the day. It's up to Sesco. If Man United bid for Sesco at the same price as Newcastle, he's going to Manchester United, in my opinion. What I'm hearing, he's going to Manchester United. There will be no bidding war if Cesco come out and said, I want to go to Manchester United. There will be no bidding war. Now, this is where Man United are playing it smart. At the moment, what they're telling us at the moment is that they're telling Cesco and his agent and his entourage, if he wants to go to Manchester United, he needs to speak up and say that he wants to come to Manchester United, in my opinion. Coco, the most important thing is who the player wants, not how much is bid. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Bear me a second, guys. Bear me a second. I'm just trying to find something. I just need to set something up. 1 second, guys. Coco. True, but what if the club can't pay, especially with the money on the table? Well, we don't know that. What I'm hearing at the moment, Coco, is that Man United are willing to pay. Man United are willing to pay the matched amount, because the amount that Newcastle have offered is the amount that Sesco is worth. The amount that Man United were going to pay initially is what Sesco is worth. That is what he's worth. So that is the money that is. The biggest concern, if we're going to get at any concern about this deal at the moment, going through or not going through, is that are Man United going to be able to pay the fee up front? What are Newcastle going to offer? What are Man United going to offer? Let's not forget, as I stress again, Newcastle do have FFP problems as well. Guys, absolutely. Big up everyone. Big up Cornish. Big up everyone. Big up all the legends in the chat. Of course, Isaac and Cesco, two of the Champions League wouldn't be making up the numbers. It would be making up the numbers, mate, because the rest of their team are not as great as people think. At the end of the day, they're not going to sign Benjamin Cesco and Isaac. They're not going to have them together. Man United. Let me tell you that right now. Newcastle cannot afford it. They need to sell. You know, Newcastle got problems with FFP and PSR. Yale, Gordon Alenga, Isaac and Cesco is a very fast strike force. I think they would do very well in the Champions League. Also, their midfield two are excellent. I don't know that. Let me tell you something about Yale, about the Champions League. Man United had an excellent Champions League team many times. They didn't do well in the Champions League. When you got those teams in the Champions League, it's not just about what players you got on the pitch. It's the kind of tactics you have to play in the Champions League. It's a different kettle of fish. When's the last European trophy that Newcastle won? The last time they're in Europe, they had a great midfield. They did nothing. Absolutely. Big up, Jamie. Can't believe people thought he wasn't the real. The news has ruined this country. I mean, people who thought Sheikh Jassim Hamid was fake. They obviously have a sinister nature to their beings. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's what I would say to it. At the end of the day, what I would say, they obviously have a sinister nature about themselves. You know, absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, I'm just sorting out this reboot. Silver Bay again. I think United will get him. Just hope that he can come and turn things around. Absolutely, mate. Look, I'm not here saying, oh my goodness me, Newcastle, if they sign Benjamin Cesco and Isaac, they're going to be cooking. I'm not one of them guys. I don't care about those barcode prats. I don't care about them at the end of the day. If you were around in the 90s supporting Man United like I support Man United, right, you would know that Newcastle are any team. Any team. Forget Newcastle. Don't worry about it. They got FFP and all that problems, of course. FIFA Bully, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hoyland needs to go RB so we can get Cesco. Otherwise, Newcastle will get him. It's not about the money, really, but FIFA Bully. It's not about the money. It's not about that. It's about what the player wants, ultimately. Man United will offer the same at the end of the day. John, Cesco has spoken a lot to a lot of United players. Why would he do that if he's going to Newcastle? There's lots of evidence to suggest that. I'm not saying it's absolute gospel. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But there's lots of counter evidence to suggest that he's going to go to Manchester United. At the end of the day. Big up, my friend Chris. What's going on, mate? Good to see you again. Joined a bit late. Seems like Newcastle are fighting hard, but I still think that Sesco would choose us. Let's see. Absolutely. Would be very embarrassing for Newcastle if he does reject them. It would be, Chris, because at the end of the day, this is their club record fee. It would be very embarrassing to them at the end of the day, guys. It would be. And I feel like, it will be the third time that they've been rejected, but because of Manchester United, wouldn't it be the third time, if I'm not correct? I do believe they wanted Mbumo. They made up a load of lies that they didn't want Mbumo, that we own. Look, guys, the funniest thing about Newcastle United, right? The funniest thing is that, ironically, they were telling us that, Man United players only sign for Man United because we offer them a lot of money. Weren't they saying about an Mbumo? What's going on here? Isn't it ironic? I think I'm going to get Alanis Morissette out to sing me, isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Because at the end of the day, what Newcastle are doing, they're doing exactly what they're saying. They're contradicting themselves. They're hypocrites. In the 90s, they were the biggest spenders in the Premier League in the 90s. They've always spent money. Newcastle have always spent money. They cannot even talk about Man United spending money at the end of the day, especially money that we earned, of course, guys. And that's what I would say about that. Big up, Chris. Good to see you, mate. Let's wait and see, of course. I had hoped that we could see Rasmus take off Leipzig, but he has already turned them down, not wanting to go there. We'd have to pay up. I don't have faith in this board, but if we lose this target now, we will be laughing stock in 2 weeks' time. We already are, Jamie, when we're being real about it. People are laughing at us about certain players. We already, like the Jokeres deal, people are laughing at us and stuff like that. But don't worry, Jamie. We're Glazers out, we're Ineos out, full sale all day long. One day it will come, mate. Don't worry about it. It will come. Stop the regeneration project. I've already sent a letter to Lord Coe, guys. I will give you it tomorrow. I'll read it out to you, what I sent to Lord Coe. I've already done that, guys. I think that a lot of people need to get on board with that. Stop the regeneration project so that, you know what, they can't have any leg to stand on, of course, guys. I initially wanted Watkins at Man United as a main striker. Now, Kenny, look, I want to ask you guys the question. Why would Manchester United turn their back on Ollie Watkins to go full throttle on the Benjamin Sesco deal if they didn't believe they were going to get Benjamin Sesco? That's what I would say. Chris, I hope we haven't burned our bridges with Watkins. I would still like him to have Man United. You know who I want, Chris? I wanted it from the beginning. The biggest player that Man United could sign right now, who's available, Mateta. That guy is an absolute animal. I wanted Mateta. He was in my top 3 strikers. I wanted Osimhen, Jokeres, and Mateta. One of those 3 strikers. I think Mateta's better than Cesco. I think he's better than bloody Isaac, in my humblest opinion, because he plays with Crystal Palace. I think Mateta is an absolute animal. IG, where is Kadioglu? I remember having a breakdown when he joined Brighton. Absolutely tried. Man United slept to lose. I remember I was in Turkey last year. I remember talking to an agent who was working for Galatasaray. And basically he's talking about Kadioglu going to Manchester United and said that is very, very likely that we'll go to Manchester United. But the problem in Manchester United, they were not pulling out the money. They were not getting the money in. What became evident is that Man United had already agreed a deal in principle for Diego Leon, and Man United are very, very keen on getting Diego Leon into this first team. I believe Diego Leon is going to be a star, and obviously Dorgu as well. Dorgu was another one that Man United were heavily linked to as well. So Man United ended up getting Dorgu, and I think Dorgu is going to be an absolute superstar. Kadioglu can play right as well. Would have been nice. Obviously, he's got that wing back thing going on as well. But still believe Sesco will come to United because of Havel. Yeah, look, Christopher Favel, guys, I want to show you something. Again, I brought this into the channel before, of course, guys. This is Benjamin Sesco and Christopher Favel looking very, very happy there. Look at them. Very, very happy. Christopher Favel and Benjamin Sesco. Let's look at this image and let's try and get a little positivity about it, guys. At the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see. No, I find it funny because you know what? Benjamin Sesco was not my first, 4th, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th choice of footballer that I wanted at Man United. But now that Man United have gone deep into negotiations with this transfer, I would just want this transfer to go over the line. I mean, 2 years ago, I was more like, yeah, you know what, Benjamin Sesco, what a player. I want to get him at Man United. I want to get him. He's a great player. Then it sort of died down. He hasn't elevated like I thought he would elevate at the end of the day. This is why, I think playing with Mbumo and Cunha and Cesco would be better for him, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't want to overly gas things. I don't want to overly gas Newcastle. If they had Isaac and Cesco up front, they're going to bang. Football doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't. You know what I mean? So what I would say is that Newcastle mentality, culture at the football club. Like what I've been talking about for many, many years. Culture at the football club. Let me have a look. Yale, I want Vlahovic. I could actually not care if we get Sesco or not. Vlahovic is the box-to-box striker. Sesco is not that. Big up. Injury problem, though, Yale. We don't want any more injury players, my friend, even though I got huge respect for Vlahovic, by the way. Jamie, hell no to Vlahovic, says Jamie. Absolutely not. Big up, Jamie. LT, good morning. How you doing? The Cesco deal, which includes Rasmus Højlund to Newcastle, would be beneficial for us because if Rasmus does well there, we can get more value for him if it's a loan. I agree with that, LT. This is one thing that we can try and entice RB Leipzig with. We could send Rasmus Højlund on loan. We don't necessarily have to sell Rasmus Højlund. We could send him to RB Leipzig on loan, guys. Do you know what I mean? And then if he does well there, win-win. Win-win at the end of the day. That's what I would say about it. Absolutely. The player still holds the cards. Absolutely spot on, Kenny. Yeah. I'd rather sign Marcus Thuram or Marnie than Vlahovic. Subjective opinions are welcome, of course. Big up, Jamie, though. Kenny, so I remember the De Jong bid was accepted in principle, but De Jong wanted to stay at Barcelona. Exactly. Wife wanted to stay in Barcelona. Wife did not want to go to Manchester, etc., etc. You know what I mean? The player holds the cards. The player holds the key. Absolutely. Tinsel, good morning. Man United should put together personal terms with Sesco. This is what they're trying to do at the moment, Tinsel. Man United are trying to persuade Benjamin Sesco's people to openly say that you want Manchester United. Manchester United is the only club you want. And once he says that, once Benjamin Sesco comes out and says that, and don't be surprised, remember these words, guys, from my lips, right? Remember this. Benjamin Sesco comes out and says he only wants to sign for Manchester United. If that happens, you know what? You know where it is, isn't it, at the end of the day? But because of this, look, this Slovenian outlet that initially reported the news, of course, guys, the Slovenian outlet of Delo, of course, is a very, very, how would you say it? Untrustworthy website. It is basically a content that they basically make content that elevates, like basically likes, clicks and stuff like that. A bit like The Sun, a bit like, you know what I mean, triggers. It's a trigger sort of a website in regards to that. And you know what? It's nothing. It's not something that you could put all your eggs in the basket and trust with all 100%. Of course, guys. Of course, I've always said there's no smoke without fire. There's always an element of truth to everything you hear, maybe, unless it's any guy or Sully Talks or something like that on Twitter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's always an element of truth in anything. You know what I mean? But what I would say is that, you know what, I don't firmly believe what is being said. I do know, as I quoted that this morning, that Newcastle made a bid. The thing that is not true for me is that he's already made his decision. I think that's a little bit of a lie. I think that's a lie, in my opinion. I think they're taking a chance there. I think they're risking it, really, really, of course. Jamie. We are financially fucked if we don't compete with Financial Fair Play PFI. Big up, Jamie. Big up yourself. Hope you're well. Even and all, moving on, Mark. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Hope you're good. Sal, do you think Sesco will hit the ground running at United? Look, you know what? At the end of the day, every single transfer represents a risk, not least Benjamin Sesco. Benjamin Sesco is not prolific. Let me tell you that right now. He's just under 1 in 2 games, right? Which is not bad for a striker of his ilk, okay? When you think about Rasmus, he's got much, much less than that. Rasmus only had 10 goals at Atlanta. He didn't score many goals, wherever he's been, even with, obviously, Denmark. But what I would say is that, you know what, he's going to need time. My biggest fear is that if we bring in Benjamin Sesco into the football club and he goes a couple of games without scoring, people are going to turn against him already. That is one thing that we're pretty certain about with this fan base, of course, guys. But look, it all depends. Everything is a risk. Everything is a risk. My feeling is playing in front of Mbeumo and Cunha, I think it will hold him in good stead. He'll have balls. He will have chances to score goals. That's pretty certain. Absolutely. Big up Dabby's ass, my friend. I think that our ace card could be Rasmus. Apparently, they would love to have him. Yeah, Chris, they want him. They said they want him, but again, it all depends on Rasmus Højlund. Now, what we can do in regards to that to counter Rasmus Højlund's feelings is that we could tell Rasmus Højlund, look, Rasmus, go to RB Leipzig on loan for the whole season, get a few goals, and you come back here stronger. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what Man United. That's the card Man United can play. If Rasmus doesn't want to go on a permanent transfer to RB Leipzig. And of course, that will help RB Leipzig. And, you know, the only problem is that will RB Leipzig willing to pay the wages of Rasmus Højlund? Because obviously Man United need to get the wages off the books because of FFP and PSR. So obviously all this sweet stuff, all this financial stuff. I wish I got a degree in finance. My goodness me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, look, you know, a loan could be the key. A loan could be the key. I really feel that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Big up, Danny. Big up, Danny B. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Titsu, what's going on, my friend? The media are throwing a bob for the fans to make the stress the Man United fan. Absolutely. Don't worry about the media. Some of them are delivering fake news. They said Sesco agree Newcastle. They said Sesco agree Newcastle. They also said that Mbeumo's going to Tottenham Hotspur when Thomas Frank went to Tottenham Hotspur, didn't they? What happened to that? Where's the apologies at the end of the day? I think many of the outlets as well said that Sheikh Jassim Hamad wasn't real. Cheers. They said that Sheikh Jassim Hamad wasn't real. Do you remember that? Big up Tybo, the legend, the myth. What's going on, man? It's unbelievable we still have the power to attract players after 15 years of downfall. Not many teams out there will be able to do this. Absolutely. Thank you, Tyborg. We still have the pull, but how long would that last for, Tyborg? How long would the pool last for? Because this only can last for so much. As the generations get older, we're getting older, ain't we? Mate, anyway, I am anyway. But what I would say is that, yeah, Man United still will always be a bigger club than Newcastle United in my lifetime. They will always be bigger. They will always be the biggest club in England. That's what it will be. Now, I hope that Man United start becoming the best team on the pitch as well. We don't want a dominant Liverpool next season. Absolutely not. Big up Tybo, by the way. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a blessed Saturday, my friend. I hope you've had a blessed Saturday. Let me just see the score. 1 second. I've got to check my friend's score. On the old League One starting today, guys, and League Two. By the way, it's all starting up now. Yeah. Oh well. Big up Tyborg, by the way. Miles, good morning, good evening, good night. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Sal, hope you're well. Little off topic, but I thought Antonio Valencia was very underrated as a winger. Peace out, brother. Antonio Valencia was very underrated. Man United purchased him from Wigan Athletic, of course. One of the purchases that came into Manchester United after, I think it was after the Ronaldo stuff, isn't it? But yeah, we converted him into a right winger. Look, what I would say about that, the difference between Manchester United with Valencia and Ashley Young and players like that is Man United went gun-ho most of the time. Valencia was basically a winger anyway. Man United were just going full throttle all the time at football teams. And to be honest with you, I think Valencia done an absolutely brilliant job at Man United as a right winger. I actually feel that he done superbly well at Manchester United as a right winger. And a praise to him. Very underrated. Absolutely killer shot in him as well. Could shoot that ball. Oh, my goodness me. I was behind the goal. I was on the Stretford end when he blasted one into the top corner once. Absolutely brilliant. Big up, Miles. Sal, if we do not get Cesco, do we go after another striker or fix the midfield? Ephraim, what I would say to you, mate, I think Man United need a striker. I think Man United need to get a guy who could put that bloody ball in the back of the bloody net. That's what I would say, because we've had minus goal difference a couple of times this year. What I would say is that how many times have Man United been in the games where the game has been really tight, it's been 0-0, or 1-0 to Man United, and we can see the goal, or we lose the game 1-0. How many times did that happen? Loads of times, didn't it? And you know what I would say? That's because we don't score goals. And that is the biggest problem, and we do need a guy, a gunman who could put that ball in the back of the net, Ephraim, in my opinion. But if Man United don't sign a striker, Ephraim, and Man United go after a midfielder, at least it's better than nothing. At least when we're showing signs that we're actually not a snail and we're actually moving and trying to fix something in that football team. Absolutely. Newcastle are auctioning off Peter Beardsley's teeth to try and... Mark. What about his nose? What about his nose? What about his chin, Mark? What about his chin? Yeah, those who know don't know. They know Peter Beardsley. Great player, guys. Great player. Peter Beardsley used to be an attacking player for Newcastle United. Also played for Liverpool, by the way. Attacking player I think he played for Everton as well, bud. Yeah, attacking player. Really, really, really good player. But yeah, he had a chin like that. He had a chin like that. Jamie, hell no, I'm not watching Rasmus next season. Hell no. Hell to the no, says Jamie. Big up, Jamie. We better sign a striker. I hope so, mate. I hope so. I can only hope for you, my guy. I only go. We need a bid today. Look, what Man United are trying to do, they're trying to encourage the people around Benjamin Sesco to get Cesco to say he wants Manchester United. Now, don't be surprised if something comes out in the next 24 hours, I only want Manchester United. Don't be surprised, guys, about that. That will contradict everything. A lot of people will lose their jobs. A lot of people will be made unemployed. A lot of people will be like, oh, my goodness me, there's my journalism career down the drain, of course, guys. That's what's going to happen. You know, sometimes what I think, I wish I took up journalism at college because, you know what, I never knew that journalism was so popular and so many people wanted to be a journalist. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Big up, big up, big up. Monday, we can't wait until then. Big up, hey, Bless. How you doing? 2009. Everyone's getting impatient. Big up, everyone, of course. Really, really, he will be a Man United player soon. I believe Tinsel from Ethiopia. Big up, my friend. Hope you're doing well. All the Man United fans, please calm down. The club is Man United. It's the biggest club. These clubs has Greece still now. Big up, Tinsel. Love it, mate. And I absolutely agree with that. I love the glass half full mentality. That is what it's all about at the end of the day. Absolutely. Big up, Tinsel. And it's been a pleasure having you on the channel, of course. Absolutely. Yale, United need to go ahead of Sesco before they bid. They want to know the player wants them before wasting time in bidding. This is what Man United are doing. This is what I said at the top of the show, Yale, that Man United are trying to get Sesco to basically pledge his honour to Manchester United, pledge his future to Manchester United, basically. Yale, absolutely. Yale, are there any good strikers in Norway? That's what. Are there any left? We used to have some good. You used to have some good strikers in Norway, didn't you? Absolutely. Apart from Eric Neverland, he was a little bit. Aaron Robson, what's going on? Typical Eddie Howe has to play the 4-3-3 since he came to Newcastle. Bigger Aaron Robson. Look, you know one thing I would say that Eddie Howe has had the light end of the stick. Eddie Howe, you know, he done well last season. I'll give him that. 4th place. Won a League Cup. Eric Ten Hag done better than that and got absolutely crucified for it at the end of the day. How many seasons has Eddie Howe been at Newcastle United and how many trophies has he won? He doesn't get nowhere near the abuse that Ruben Amorim gets. Absolutely. If Eddie Howe came into this squad, Man United would have been relegated. Absolutely. Tybor, Leipzig was interested in Rasmus at the time when we bought him. So there is definitely truth behind that story. And it could be a perfect deal bringing Cesco and sending Højlund the other way. Absolutely, Tybor. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a sale either. We can also do a loan deal with RB Leipzig as well. That could be a thing as well, isn't it? You know, so fingers crossed, Tybor. Nothing is signed, sealed, delivered yet at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I hope that, you know, Cesco does become a Man United player and we fix that striker situation so we can move on to other positions on the pitch. Of course, guys, absolutely. Ables won't be bidding war if Cesco chooses United. Exactly, Ables. Spot on. This is the whole point of the show. It will not be a bidding war. It does not matter if Cesco chooses Manchester United. If Cesco turn around, just like Isaac, and he said, I only want Manchester United, like Isaac said, I only want Liverpool. If he turned around and said, I only want Manchester United, Newcastle will pull out of that deal. They will pull out of that deal. Rest assured. LT, I feel like Cesco wants United, but we're trying to convince Leipzig over a package that can suit us. And if Romano is right about Leipzig wanting Højlund, it gives us a slight advantage. It's going to be, you know what, squeaky bum time, as was it Alex Ferguson used to say, didn't they? It's going to be a rocky ride with this transfer. I always envisioned that this transfer would drag on until the start of the season. I always felt that Cesco situation will go on and on until a couple of days before the first game of the season against Arsenal. Someone asked me yesterday, will Cesco play against Arsenal? And I said, no. And this is exactly why I said no, because I knew that something like this will happen. I heard something like this will happen, that Newcastle could come back in with a counter offer, even though there were rumors from aggregators yesterday that they pulled out of the deal, right? Newcastle may have pulled out of the deal, but they went back and they drew up another plan for a deal, and they brought this deal in. Of course, guys, absolutely. Absolutely. Aaron, yeah, we can keep them both. We haven't bought anyone in 3 windows. We had 250 million before Danny Isaac Sal. Big up Aaron Rebson, my friend. Good to see you. I don't believe this rubbish that they want rubbish. Jamie, they do. They do. They've wanted Rasmus Højlund for a very long time, mate. They wanted Rasmus for a very long time. When the rivalry is called Man United, their heartbeat 400. Please believe real sources, not order any news. Believe Stretford Post, Tinsel. Stretford Post is the way. Done and dusted is coming very, very soon, guys. Thank you so much. Nobody wants him. He's crap. Come on, Jamie. Come on, you're going on that one again. Jamie. To be honest, I would rather get a new keeper. Bobby, we need a good keeper anyway, and we need a new striker. The biggest problem at Man United is the goalkeeper and the striker. We need both. It's counterproductive to get one. Do you know what I mean? Big up, Bobby. Smash and like, subscribe. Thank you, FMU legend of Chatterbox, legend of Breaking Dawn. Thank you so much every single day, my guy. And big up, Kazi. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Really good to see you. SD, I really need therapy after this transfer window. So I'm going to give you therapy, guys. You know what the best therapy is for Manchester United fans? A win against Arsenal. Win against Arsenal on the opening game of the season. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? At the end of the day, of course, guys. Absolutely. Aaron. The rest of the team, who Gordon Barnes, Alenga, Tonali, Gomeres, Joelinton, and Liverpool, Botman, Bernie, are you absolutely mental? Yeah, I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, mate, I don't think they're as good as you think, my son. Absolutely not. Best of luck to you, Aaron. Best of luck. I hope that you do wonders next season, mate. And that's what I say at the end of the day. I hope, though. But let's not overrate. I've seen a lot of great players in my life, Aaron. You know, I've been supporting Man United since the late 80s. I've seen some great players. I've seen some great Newcastle sides. I saw the Newcastle sides with Festina Aspria, Les Ferdinand. Do you know what I mean? Gary Speed. You know, David Batty. You know, Philip Albert, Pavel Cernacek. You know, I've seen David Ginola. Do you know what I mean? I've seen great Newcastle. Lee Clark. You want me to go on and on? Warren Barton. You know, I can go on and on. I've seen some great teams of Newcastle, and this is nowhere near it. Even though you think it is. It's a good team, but it's not Man United. I would happily play Newcastle United in the final of a trophy, because every time we play you, we beat ya in finals. I hope we play in the League Cup or the FA Cup final. United didn't do as well as they could have in the Champions League because of Ferguson, for some reason, always played conservatively. I never understood it. No, what it was, George Best, what I would say initially in the Champions League, obviously, you know, as well as I do, we obviously had a foreign quota, didn't we? We had the foreign quota in regards to how many foreigners you could play. And that including, obviously, Republic of Ireland, of course, guys. So remember that. Of course, that was a big thing. So Man United, a great football team of Man United, which included, obviously, Paul Ince and Brian Robson and Andre Kanchelskis and Ryan Giggs, Ollie Sharp and Eric Cantona and Mark Hughes. You know, we couldn't play all those players. Dennis Irwin, Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Paul Parker, and Peter Schmeichel. We had to leave out some of those players out of the team. And that affected us in the initial stages, because I firmly believed that team would eventually won the Champions League, that 1993-94 team. Then we move on to the class of 92. It is a bit of a double-edged thing, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, if we didn't have to play all those youngsters, the likes of Paul Scholes and David Beckham wouldn't have got their debuts in the Champions League, and, you know, the butterfly effect and all that. I do agree, however, that Alex Ferguson, in his latter stages, we had chances to win the Champions League. We had big chances to win the Champions League. When I'm thinking about the Leverkusen game, the Dortmund game, I think about the games we played against, what was the game? We got knocked out Monaco. We got knocked out against Monaco, of course. There are a number of games there that Man United should not have got knocked out. Man United, over the years, have flattered to deceive in the Europe, unfortunately. And we should have won more Champions League. Absolutely should have won more Champions League. I feel the game against Barcelona, even though that was a fabulous Barcelona team, especially at Wembley, I feel that tactically we got it wrong. Before the game, I was saying to my friend on the phone, I said, I'm not confident about the Man United team. I think the Man United team is a little bit, you know what I mean? It's weak in midfield. We moved Ryan Giggs into the midfield, remember, against Busquets and Xavi and Iniesta. Absolutely. Yeah, you got a point, George Best 007. I mean, Premier League, Alex Ferguson was the absolute king. Absolute king. But would I swap that for now? Of course I would. Absolutely. Tintu, Sesco knows which club he prefers, which is biggest club. Man United, the biggest club, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sal, do you think Klopp will engage with Sesco and Newcastle? No. Lies, already been proven, debunked, said it this morning. Absolute nonsense. It wouldn't be unprofessional to do things like that. It's a conflict of interest, isn't it? Because he's a Liverpool man. If a Liverpool man tells a Man United fan, he should know that. Benjamin Sesco should know that is exactly what exactly what he wants to do. He wants to lure him away from Man United. Of course he does. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Vivaldi's sacking if he does one. Not saying he won't. Absolutely. Newcastle went in and in Boomer. And who did he choose? Manchester United, of course. Absolutely. LT, I really hope to see Kunna and Boomer partnership tomorrow because I want to see us preparing for the players who are going to play against Arsenal because the partnerships and chemistry will be crucial. I really agree with that, mate. I do agree with that. What's the date today? When is the Man United game, by the way? It's the 4th, isn't it? I think. Let me have a look. Let me double check that. So I don't miss the game, guys. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to watch the watch along. You don't want to miss the watch along, guys. Of course I don't. Let me have a look at this. I want to see what double check this because the time I'm at is different, so it can vary. So the 4th, yes, I'm all right. Yeah. So that game kicks off tomorrow morning, 1 o'clock in the morning for me. I will be here live, guys, for the watch along. Please join me for that. Should be fun, of course, guys. And Boomo making his debut, guys. It's gonna be peak, guys. It's gonna be peak here. Absolutely. I hope it is. Absolutely. Let's say it 3 times and embarrass him. Absolutely. Aaron, it's good to have you here, Aaron, by the way. We didn't spend half of what you spent. No, you spent the most, Robson. You spent the most. Statistically, you spent the most. Write down on ChatGPT. Write it down right now. Who was the highest spenders in the Premier League in the 90s? And it was Newcastle United. And guys, I tell you why it was Newcastle United, okay? The reason that Newcastle were the highest spenders in the Premier League in the 90s is because you made club record buys, including, obviously, Alan Shearer. As we know, guys, you purchased Alan Shearer. You didn't only purchase Alan Shearer, you purchased David Ginola, Les Ferdinand, Faustina Asprilla, Warren Barton, who was very expensive. Between 1992 and 1999, Newcastle United spent 80 million. 80 million. And that was the most in the 1990s. 80 million in the 90s was a lot of money, by the way. 10 million was a lot. Wait me a second. Sorted. There you go. I've got the facts, guys. So, Newcastle were the highest spenders in the Premier League. Sorry, Aaron. I don't want to be cocky or sarcastic, but sorry. Is it true that Sesco wants Newcastle? No. It hasn't been confirmed. What has been confirmed is that Newcastle United have made a bid for Benjamin Cesco. A strong bid as well. They made a strong bid for Benjamin Cesco. Absolutely. We Man United mustn't cry whenever he prefers Man United or not. It isn't the end of the world. It might be a good opportunity for Rasmus. Tinsel. He's got a big season. If that's the case next season, a massive season, of course, a massive season, of course, guys. Absolutely. Big up Amir. Big up everyone. Big up everyone in the chat, of course. Absolute legends, guys. Absolute legends. Glazers out and Ratcliffe out. I agree with that all day long. I never miss a comment like that, Bobby. Absolutely not. I never miss a comment like that. Sunderland have added Openda to their striker, guys. I said it, Kenny. I said it. I think it was a week ago. Sunderland have won this transfer window. Pound for pound, sorry, Newcastle fan, but Sunderland have won this window. They've done very well this window. I have to say it. Guys, I have to say it. Sunderland definitely doing bits in the transfer market. Big up 1974. 1974. There you go. Did you watch Women's World Cup? I didn't. European Championship. I couldn't face it. Well done to the England women. Well done to the England women who won the European Championships for the 2nd time in a row. Come on, mentality. If only England got over the line a couple of times, isn't it? At the end of the day. Absolutely. Guys, you know what? It's been a very, very beef bully. Big up yourself. After this, Sal, the only best United in England and best United in England. Big up. We will be back. Glory, glory, Man United. Come on, my guy. Big up, mate. Big up, guys. Absolutely. Guys, we're going to have to wait and see. Let me just read through these, get through these comments. Of course, let's see what's going on. Tybog. I believe Rasmus was born to play in the Bundesliga. I agree with that. Tybog. I really do. He's just a perfect player for that league. His brother plays there already. Yeah. I think it is a good league for him. I think the pace of him, the strength, I think it is a good league for him. And not only that, look, if he goes to the Bundesliga and he absolutely tears it up, scores lots of goals. If he goes on loan to, for example, RB Leipzig, he's got a great opportunity to come back to Man United, and that's what I would say. At the moment, it's not working out for him. It's not working out. As much as I want it to work out for him, it's not working out for him. Coco, Romano has just confirmed it's up to Sesco with United still in the race. We still need to come up with the convincing offer and not do like Mbumo if he chooses. Yeah, we can't take our time, Coco. We took 50 days with the Mbumo deal. That was too long. Over 50 days. That was way too long. Guys. It's coming from Sky Sports, Charlie. Take it with a pinch of salt. Sky Sports again, yeah. leave out Sky Sports. Can't be asked with Sky Sports. They want what's bad for Man United. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about Sky Sports. I told you guys, I've had people from Sky Sports. Well-known people. It rhymes with Harmy Hef. That's his name. It rhymes with that, Harmy Hef, right? It rhymes with that. He's DM'd me asking for transfer news. That is Sky Sports, right? That was Sky Sports has DM'd me asking for transfer news. So I wouldn't take anything like that for gospel, guys. Guys, you're absolute legends. Thank you so much for joining. Big up the new people in the chat as well. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, you legends. And please don't forget to smash a like. Everyone is welcome, of course. Opinions are welcome. And please don't forget to put your notifications on in case I go live if anything breaks, guys. One thing I would say to wrap this all up, no matter what happens, we move on. We're Manchester United. We will move on. As Manchester United fans, we have to. We have no choice. But what we can do, we can heat the pressure on Ineos and the Glazers, empty the stadium, stop the regeneration project all day long, get the pressure on Ineos, get the pressure on the Glazers, make sure they know what they blocked. They blocked a full Sal, Glazers out, depth clear, didn't they? At the end of the day, guys, have a great evening, great night, great day, guys. And big up Grayo, of course, the legend that is Grayo. Oh my goodness me, Grayo. I gotta keep it clean here, Grayo. I gotta keep it clean here. Big up, Graham, my guy. Hope you're doing well. I'm going for a run. You take it easy, guys. And you know what? Enjoy it. And because you know what? Smile whilst you still have teeth. And that's the most important thing. As long as you've got your health, isn't it? Even though Man United are really, really deteriorating that at the moment. Blood pressure. I need a blood pressure monitor right here. Right here, right. Do you know what I mean? Watch it. Talking about Man United. But guys, have a good evening, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. And I'll see you tomorrow. If nothing else breaks, of course. Peace.